The decline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a topic of discussion for many years now. There can be no denying that what Marvel was able to accomplish over the last 10 years has been nothing short of amazing. It all started in 2008 with the Incredible Hulk, who at that point was portrayed by Edward Norton. A cameo from Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark in the post-credit scene would set up the cinematic universe for years to come. Although we did get a few rotten apples in between an ocean of great content, overall no one can deny the impact of the first 3 phases of Marvel. Marvel did not just build a franchise, they built a universe. To this day, the Marvel Cinematic Universe stands on top of the mountain, having grossed well over $40 billion. Up until 2008, the superhero genre has been dominated by DC-led characters. With the exception of Spider-Man, who falls under Sony, Warner Bros. With Superman and Batman have dominated. By 2000, Superman might have fallen to the wayside in favor of Batman, but the impact was the same. Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy is considered to be one of the best ever. As successful as Warner Bros. Was pushing out their DC superheroes, they were never able to make it all connect. This is where Marvel stepped up. Sony might have experienced some sort of success with Marvel heroes in the form of Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and X-Men. It was nothing in comparison to what was to come. There is a strong argument to be made that the success of Marvel was built on the back of what Sony did in the early 2000s. Hugh Jackman, Tobey Maguire, and Ryan Reynolds are all products of the Sony universe. Marvel and Disney, for their parts though, were able to take a universe divided and bring it all together. Although superhero movies along with their sequels and trilogies always existed, never have we seen proper overlap between heroes. The cinematic universe always existed within the world of comic books, but never has it been attempted on the big screen. One continuous story told over many movies involving different heroes made going to the cinema a must. Everything led to the next Avengers movie, and Endgame was the perfect way to wrap up 10 years of hard work. Sadly though, Endgame was not the end. Once a corporation has milked an audience for billions, it is hard to give it up. We always knew that Marvel would not stop, but no one ever expected the quality to drop this much. With Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. out at Marvel, the next crop of talent was always going to have an uphill battle. Right now there seems to be a massive lack of direction. In a perfect world, Marvel would have stopped pushing out movies for a few years in order to start building up the next chapter. That never happened. To their credit, the Spider-Man movies is excellent. With the 2 leaders of the universe now officially out, they need to look ahead for the next leading person. The unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman left nothing to be desired for Black Panther. After Love and Thunder, no one is asking for another Thor movie. With James Gunn out as director for Guardians of the Galaxy and most of the actors also announcing their departure, we can consider that part of the universe dead as well. Sadly, Black Widow and Hawkeye were never really in contention. While Doctor Strange did his best to hang in there, sadly his movie was nothing more than promotional material for Ms. Marvel. This brings us to Phase 5 and the obvious choices to take the universe forward. The leader Marvel is looking at now is Brie Larson in Captain Marvel. The issue is most people cannot stand Brie. Her comments in the past about white men, who is the leading ticket driver within the universe, has left many not wanting to support her. Her upcoming movie The Marvels will feature 3 leading women. These 3 women will likely be the catalyst around which they build the next few chapters. Along with this, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Both are still prominent figures within Marvel, and it is clear that their movie is setting up the next Avengers. This is very similar to how Thor set up the first Avenger movie. At this point, the next crop of Avengers is very clear. We will have Brie Larson and Captain Marvel leading the group. Along with her, you will have other leading women, including Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau. Considering that She-Hulk writers and producers are involved with the Marvels as well, it would be safe to assume that we will be seeing her on the big screen soon. Tony Stark has also been replaced by Ironheart. An actress by the name of Dominique Thorne will be taking over this role. We can assume that Ant-Man and the Wasp will be in the Avengers as well, along with their daughter Cassie. Then the new Black Panther, Shuri played by Letitia Wright, will likely also have a part. We can probably also expect to see Falcon. All of this now leads us to the next question. Will this cast be enough to move the universe forward? Critic scores for these movies are getting increasingly low, and while Marvel still manages to bring in billions, this number is decreasing with every new release. While audiences have been receiving these newer movies more favorably, this will not always continue to be the case. Ultimately, we will have to wait and see how all of this is going to play out moving forward. Although the general excitement for Marvel movies might not be there anymore, many are still showing up to watch whatever they produce next. As long as these movies continue to bring in money, they will likely continue to push them out. Right now there is a massive negative stigma attached to the MCU, and it will be hard to recover from that. While it is hard to build favor with the audience, it is extremely easy to lose it. It only takes a few bad movies to undo all the work of the past. In certain cases, it only takes a few bad casting choices or even comments. Moving forward, Disney and Marvel will have to take the time to sit down and figure out exactly what they want to do. We see this problem pop up across multiple industries all the time. Apple releases the iPhone and it makes billions. They start releasing phones every few years, and the more money they make, the more phones they want to push out. Before you know it, they are releasing every year with very little innovation. In the gaming industry, Call of Duty makes billions. Every few years they release a game, and as they make more money they release more frequently. Now they release it annually and the quality is no longer what it used to be. Marvel is suffering from the same issue. Companies are too focused on forever growth. It is not enough to make lots of money, they need to make all of it. Now, here we are with Marvel releasing multiple movies a year. With that, every new release seems to be worse than the previous one.